with me a very special guest and a very special friend, Takele Mekonen. He will be sharing with us and we'll be speaking together about the Ethiopian community in Israel. And he himself made Aliyah back in the 80s, one of the first large Aliyahs from Ethiopia. And he'll share a little bit about that with us. He's an engineer and an educator, a community leader, and the CEO of Tech Career. So welcome, Takele. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you very much.
I know that you have a very busy schedule, and so it's really, really wonderful that we can actually speak to you because you have so much knowledge and personal experience with this, with the Aliyah and with the integration side.
Thank you.
Yeah, before we get started speaking though, I'd like to just show a video of one of the Aliyah flights that arrived in this last year that the ICEJ was able to help with. So please show the video, would you?
Morning here from Ben Gurion Airport. In just a few moments an airplane is going to arrive, and this is really a miracle airplane because right now we are in COVID-19. The airport is closed, all the planes are at a standstill right now, nobody's allowed to arrive, but the airport will open just for a small window in order to allow a very special flight to arrive from Ethiopia.
That's right, it's very exciting. We're expecting 330 immigrants to land any moment.
And those 330 immigrants, they are old people, young people, many children. I think there is one special case also among them.
Absolutely, Jürgen. We have a 6-year-old little boy with a heart problem who desperately needs medical care here in Israel, and he's on this flight. Baruch haba Israel. Welcome. Welcome.
Amazing morning this has been to see them arriving, and they're still coming out, and the buses are still arriving, to see really how ancient prophecies are fulfilled right in front of our eyes.
Absolutely, the sons are returning to their borders. It's so beautiful to see them.
And for me, one of the most amazing and touching experiences was to see how they come down, they start to kiss the ground because they have been waiting for 20 years, some of them even longer, to make it here.
That's right. And we got to welcome little Benjamin, who's going to soon be going to medical care direct from the airport.
And we ask you to stay engaged with the Christian Embassy, to help us and continue to help us to bring the remnant of the Jewish people back to their homeland. Thanks so much for doing this.
If you want to partner with us, go to icej.org/Aliyah.
Wow, every time I see this, people coming and arriving on Aliyah and getting off the plane, it's just, I don't know, it's just such a joy and such a privilege to be a part of this and to see the joy on people's faces when they arrive. And in this particular video, we didn't get to see families welcoming because they came during Corona, and we were fortunate just to be at the airport at all because it was at a time when people weren't really allowed to welcome their families personally. They had to wait until later. But yeah, just very, very special and very, very moving every single time. So it's a real privilege. So Takele, right now it's exciting. We've heard that the Israeli government has decided to bring at least another 3,000 Jewish friends from Ethiopia, and maybe even as many as 5,000.
Wow.
And yeah, can you maybe tell us a little bit? We know that there's a war going on in Ethiopia, and that's part of the crisis. Have you been following a little bit and hearing from people what's happening there? Can you share with us?
Yes, there is a civil war there in Ethiopia. Most of the war is in the north part of Ethiopia from the Tigrayan area. They're coming through the Amhara and the Afar region. There's a war it's near Gondar area. Near the war from the Gondar city is not longer than 130 kilometers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very near. It's very near. A civil war is a terrible war. Really, it took Ethiopia another 15, 13 years back. Really, it's not good for Ethiopia. As an Ethiopian, as I born there, it's very sad. It's very dangerous for the Jewish.
Yeah.
It's very, very, in the history of the Jewish history in Ethiopia, when there is a civil war, the one with affect that is the minority, most of them is the Jewish. The Ethiopian Jews arrived in Israel before 2,700 years. For the first destruction of the Israel, the first temple. We arrived through Egypt, through Sudan, we arrived to Ethiopia. Our number was being before 2,300 something years, we've been around 1 million in Ethiopia.
Wow.
1 million Jews in Ethiopia, but so the civil war were always, fought from everywhere. So we lost a lot of our people. And we went to the remote area of the Ethiopia, from the countryside, in the middle of the jungle, and we established our communities. We are a religious community, so we try to keep our religious. And the aliyah that you are talking is a miracle. It is really a miracle for us. It's not really the same aliyah that you are coming from US, from Europe. It's in Ethiopia. Ethiopia, imagine you are living in the biblical time. Really. The same in remote area, a farmer area, no electricity, nothing, no roads, and everything. You live in the middle of the jungle. You have the community. You have the Bet Knesset in your the center of the Bet Knesset, the Kesim, the rabbis. They are which they lead the community. It's a very, very religious community, very united one. So, and we pray each day, not only in Shabbat, each day next year in Jerusalem. When it will be in the promised land, when it will be there. Always. I came from the religious family. My grandfather was being a Kohen Gadol. He's my role model. He's always told me that one day will be in Jerusalem. One day will be in Jerusalem. And I believe that. He didn't arrive in Israel, he died there in Ethiopia. He buried there in our village. But in my age, it happened. In my age, I was been 16 years old when I came to Israel through Sudan. It's a miracle. You don't imagine. Really, it happens when I'm glad to be in Israel. I love Israel. I serve here in the army. I'm an engineer. I'm involved in the community. Each day I'm in Israel is God blessing. Really, you don't imagine. Israel is everything for me. She give me the opportunity. Israel is a freedom for me. In Ethiopia, we hide our religious. Elementary school, I was been in my village, the Jewish village, no problem. secondary school and high school, I was been in the city of Gondar. Public school, not a Jewish school. I suffer a lot anti-Semitism. A lot of anti-Semitism. And I say one day I will be in Jerusalem. One day I will be in Jerusalem. And I come, and my grandfather told me, yes, continue to pray. One day you arrive there. And I came through Sudan in 1980. The journey was very, very tough. 31 days on foot from Gondar to Sudan, 600 kilometers.
Wow.
And I was been in the refuge camp 1 year and a half in Sudan.
Wow. And many people didn't make that trip, but didn't make it to Takele. Many people ended up not being able to last the whole trip because of the things that happened along the way. They died or they got sick.
Yes, of course. We arrived in Sudan around 20,000. From 1980 until 84, 85. From that number, 4,000 dead in Sudan on a journey. Yeah, it's a huge crisis. My uncle is dead there. His son is dead there. It's a trauma. It's a trauma in our family. We didn't speak about that. It's a big trauma, a big crisis. More pregnant women, children, old man, women, they dead there. The one who survives, the youngsters. Yeah, most of the youngsters comes here without parents. The parents dead there.
Wow.
Yeah, it really was a big crisis when we arrived here in Israel. A big crisis. So, you know, you go out with your family, and some of your family is not with you. In Sudan, it's a very, very trouble. Really, it's a Muslim country also. It's a very fanatic Muslim country. We hid in our religious also there. We didn't keep Shabbat. You know, to keep Shabbat is a Jewish tradition in Ethiopia. It's the most mitzvah that we do. Yeah.
So many of the people who didn't come in the 80s or even the 90s who are there today left their villages and they've come to the city and they're waiting to come here now. And this is the people that the Israeli government wants to save from the civil war at this time.
Yes.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you think the challenges are that they're going to be facing as they come. I understand they live kind of like refugees now almost.
I was been in Ethiopia, I think last 10 years. Yeah, I was been there. I visit in Ethiopia in the Jewish camp there in Gondar. It's a terrible life there. They left their villages, they left their cows, their land, everything. They come and they rent a very small apartment. They live 9, 10 people in one room, without toilet, without water, nothing. And they also, they are Jewish. So you are in the town, you can't hide your religions. They are afraid every day, especially now in the war, they are in danger. In the war, they are in danger. The minority, every place there is a war, the minority is getting worse and worse. And I think their life is very, very in danger. So they have to do everything to bring them as soon as possible, as soon as possible. And they were in Ethiopia in that more than 10 years, 11 years, someone is 20 years. You know, you have a family here and you are there. You are not in the village, you are not in Israel, in the middle. In psychology, there are a big crisis, also in economy. Most of the families, they live here in Israel, they send money towards their families. Most of our families here in Israel, they are very poor. And they have said, okay, I will eat a little bit. I didn't buy a computer to my children. I didn't do nothing, not a new shoes for me. I will send my money to my family, to Ethiopia. I know most of the families send money because the government is not helping them there until they get the aliyah, the permit that they are Jews. They didn't get any aid. And it's very important to bring them here, also to give them more resources for food and medicines. There is also is very important. I know your organization do a lot for us. We didn't forget that. I know, Nicole, mitzvah gdola, you know, if
a
you
good deed.
If you say 1%, you save the whole world. That's the Jewish faith that I grow. That's everywhere we go, you have to give and to give our resources, to pray for them. It's very important. Yeah, it's very, very, very important. It doesn't matter if you're a Jew, a Christian, a Muslim. Human being is a human being. We have to be together to help each other. I believe that. Well, we believe that. And the Aliyah, you don't imagine the people they will come to Israel to accomplish the promised land, the praying of 2,700 years. It's a miracle and changing their life totally 360 degrees centigrade.
Takele, maybe you could tell us what that looks like when you say that they're going to have to change their life 360 degrees. Yeah. I know we've spoken about the cultural differences, the big adjustments that come with Aliyah, and how your community is very community oriented, and here things are very different. Could you share with us what are they looking forward to besides the miracle of making Aliyah? What are the big adjustments that you see that they're going to have to make here in Israel?
You know, as I told you, jumping from Ethiopia come to Israel is gap is 3,000 years.
It's like an airplane, a four-hour airplane ride, and you jump forward hundreds or 1,000 years.
Yes, just, you don't imagine, you live in a very remote area in Ethiopia, in a very pastoral area, in the village, in the rivers, you have the cows, the goats, and the farmer, you have a family, the Beit Knesset is the middle of your life. Everything is really a very simple life, a very happy life. And come to Israel, no village. It's a democratic country, individual country. You have to go to school. You have to change your life totally. So the one they do is very good, very well. They can integrate the society, but most of them pass a big crisis. It's a different culture, it's a different people. It's the system, the bureaucratic system is not the same. In Ethiopia, if I have a problem with the family, go to the rabbi. If I have an economical problem, go to the head of the village and they arrange everything. Here, we have to do everything individually. It's a capitalist country, individual country. Community working is difficult. It's very hard not to be in the community in Israel. One of the biggest challenges that I think in Israel is I don't have a community. I don't have the rabbi. I don't have my family, my extended family, where I'm going to get advice. I don't know how the bureaucratic is working. Here you have a different bureaucrat to solve your problem. If you have education, go to the Ministry of Education. If you have a problem with housing, go to the housing ministry. If you have a problem with the neighborhood, go to the policeman. Where a lot of the cows, it's a chaos. They need chaos. It's a chaos. Yeah, it's a chaos. You have to mediate. You need mediators to bring that gaps. You need more educational people, more lawyers. You need doctors. Everything, a lot of agents you have need. Here is, if you don't have that skills, you can manage your life in Israel. Most of us coming without education. Even we didn't write our language, Amharic or Tigray, in Ethiopia. We didn't write, we didn't read.
Didn't read or write, yeah.
Yeah, so mother come with her children, settled in Jerusalem, and they told them, you have to send your children to school. What school? What doesn't mean school? Yeah, okay, they go to school. What did they learn? The children, physics, mathematics, English, everything. They don't know how to help them with the homework, everything. A lot of challenge. The problem is education. Education. After they migrated to Israel, the more effort must be in the children. More resources go to the children, to the school system. Okay? The medical system in Israel is very okay, it's good, it's work well. The housing system is also okay. The educational system is worst.
That's the most difficult area.
Yeah, so
that's a big gap.
The big gap, and to eliminate the gap, more mediators, more education with mathematics, with English, with Hebrew, physics, with science. Always the families, they don't have many. They are in the poor neighborhood. And the government in Israel is they have a big challenge. We facing a big challenge in Israel. Most of our budgets go to the army, go to the security. We are still fighting for our Israel, for Jerusalem, everywhere, in the south, in the north, in the west. Always we are fighting with Hamas, with Lebanon, everywhere. Most of the budget go to there. So a little money stays to the education and the social service. So the private donors organization is very important in terms of immigration, especially the Ethiopian immigration. Yes,
maybe you could tell a little bit. I know that the Ethiopian society is a patriarchal society, and the women are usually at home. And suddenly, when the immigrants come to Israel, they have to find work and employment. And sometimes it's easier for the women to find employment than the men because they can go and do a cleaning job or work in something like a factory. And often this can be a real shift in the mindset of how the family lives and works and how the children relate to their parents. And this is also another area that's very challenging, I think.
Yes. We as a patriarchal society, you know, we come here there is a democratic country, there's equality, and you know, women and mothers integrate well because they have to fight for their children. Really, that's why. So they have to go to school, and they have to go to work, and they have to go to take them to medicine everywhere. They have to do social workers everywhere. Women always integrate well. So they are integrated well, and they manage well. So the man remain back. So he thought his dignity is now is not the priority. Is not the priority one. So there's a lot of conflict there in the family. I think that's one of the reasons. The other reason is the issue of religion is very, very important. If there is a rabbi, a case from that family with their neighborhood is okay, but if there is no case, if there is any rabbi in that family, that's a problem because they didn't speak Hebrew. The prayer that we are going to the Bet Knesset is not the same prayer, it's not the same language, and you can't attend the Bet Knesset. So, you know, you are far away from the religious. It makes a big problem. Most of the family comes with their family, with their rabbi together, settled in the neighborhood. They are okay.
They settle together, and then they have their social structure and support system with their rabbi in place.
Yes, but most of them, they are different cities, different absorption centers, and the mother here and her brother there in the north. Everything is very, 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 very crisis.
So they're separated, and that makes a crisis. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And also the leadership is very important. I told you the leadership in Ethiopia, the rabbi, the Kesim, Zorbin, the organ, how do you call it?
He's the anchor. He's the anchor.
That is not exist in Israel. We don't have young leadership that educated. To be a leadership in modern country, you have to be educated one. You have to be in the big position. You know, you have to influence a lot. So it took time. When I finished university before 25 years, something like that, in Israel, there been only 20 students that finished in the Ethiopian Community University. 20.
Wow. 20.
20. They thought that we can solve the whole problem of the Ethiopians. We volunteer a lot in the government office, in the municipality, in the family, everywhere while volunteering, and we have to work also with our field. I am engineer. But every Friday, my house was open for the Ethiopian families. And accept the families, they come with me to my house, and I write a letter to the Ministry of Education, the Welfare Service, everywhere, every Friday. That's what I do more than 20 years.
Wow. Because
we have to do something for our family. We can't wait for the government to do. The bureaucracy is very, very difficult, so we have to do it.
Yeah, bureaucratic processes are very challenging for all immigrants, and even more so here. I think the government attempts to do as much as they can. I think you would agree that they work very hard, but there's still so many differences to bridge that they may not always realize exactly where the needs are the greatest, and that's why the people in the community can be a huge help to be cultural mediators, like you've said.
Yes, of course.
I also understand that because this is such a challenging adjustment, sometimes it gets down to things like as basic as parents don't know how to parent their children in this new setting. The kids are in Israeli society, which is so different from the Ethiopian society. Things like honor and respect and how much you speak and all these things. Sometimes the parents are at a loss, I think, to really understand the challenges their children are facing when they go to school and how to address them. Would you agree with that?
Yes, of course, because I told you that we're been in school in Ethiopia, most of them. And the parents didn't know what does it mean in school, okay? When they send their children to the school, if there is any challenge or any ceremony in the schools, the parents coming. Who's translating for the parents? The children. Yes, you know.
Yeah.
How do you call it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's you're flipping roles.
Yeah.
The kids are doing the parents' role.
Yeah. And who took the parents to the doctor? The children. Who translated? The children translated for the parents.
Yeah.
It's very a big crisis. If we don't know how to treat that, it's not easy. Sometimes the strong families, they know how to grow their children. If they are not strong, the children, they thought that they know everything and do what they can, and the outcome. Kids, they don't have any decision makers in that age, and they can't go to drug and everything. We don't know what's drug. We don't know what's cigarette in Ethiopia. So we are coming here. I told when I speak to the families, I told, the real jungle is here in the neighborhood. It's not in Ethiopia. This is the real jungle. You don't know who is your neighbor. You don't know what's going on in the school system. You have to be alert. You have to keep your children always. Always will be with your children. Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same village in Ethiopia.
Mhm. Yeah.
In Ethiopia, you are very safe in the village. Very safe, safety, very safety.
Mhm.
Here,
You-
not, you are not safety.
Yeah. You have to be more vigilant as a parent and more involved. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So you've done a lot with integration. You've done a lot to help the community adjust over the years. And I know that as we've spoken and we've worked on projects together and in other areas, the thing that I hear from the Ethiopian community over and over again is education is the most important thing so that the families can integrate, whether that's for their children or whether it's for their young people, so that they can find their place in this country.
Yes, yes, yes. Education is the key for the integration. Any society, any migrant society, education is a system.
Mhm.
Here in Israel is a high technician.
Mhm.
Education in science, in computer science, physics, mathematics, very important.
Mm.
Here I am the CEO of Takele. Takele is an organization which trained and prepared the young Ethiopians as a high-tech company. It's a bootcamp program.
Mhm.
And we give them the real tools, the real curriculum, tool in the tech industry, and preparing for the career system. Everything is give them that package, dormitory in the college. We do the whole facility integrate to the high-tech society. If you want to integrate to the Israeli society, even in the American, any European, in any how do you call it, modern society, education is the key. I think one of the things that my experience that I get, I was an engineer and I earn well, and I bought a small apartment without mortgage, and when I settled economically well, I integrated well. Yeah, the issue of to be independent in economical is, the how do you call it, the circle of the Haoni.
The circle of poverty. Yeah.
Yeah, that is, you have to break that chain. To break that chain is education is very important. So every concentration in terms of the Ethiopian Jewish, we have to concentrate with the school system, with the university, and bootcamp programs. That's because it's a very small society. We have now 150,000 Jews in Israel, around 35,000, 40,000 youngsters at the age of 18 to 40. It's a very small number. We can, if we do every effort in terms of job placement, education, especially in terms of technology education, we can change that poverty line within very, very few years. My goal is we trained still now 900 Ethiopians that in the high-tech company. My aim is to bring another 2,000 for the next 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm determined to bring 300 Ethiopian each year to the high-tech company. More 300, more 300. I will have 2,000, and I'll go to Pensia and write my book.
I look forward to reading it, Takele.
Yeah.
I think about just a little bit more than half of the Ethiopians in Israel, 55% were born in Ethiopia. 45% are now born in Israel. And so this is an amazing shift that's happening over the last 40 years since you came.
Yes.
Since you started, there were 20, you said 20 in the high education.
Yes.
This last few years, I think there was almost 3,800.
Yes.
So it's a good trajectory. You're going the right direction. And all that you do specifically as an educator is helping that process. And I would say it's shifting how Israelis view the Ethiopian community, because if we talk about the challenges of the integration and the aliyah of Ethiopians, They have large gaps to overcome, but once they do, they're very determined. They're very disciplined in certain way. People who want to do well, who want to be a part and contribute. And so we can really see that they have great success if they're given the opportunities. And we see that with the young people today. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, of course, of course. Even the challenge that we are very patriot, we are very motivated, we love Israel very much. All the youngsters of the Ethiopian go to the army, 93%. 93% go to the army, to the combat army. They are good fighters, they love the country, and we have to give them the chance. When they finish 3 years in the army, come to the neighborhood, and they are trying to help their parents, that's the problem. We have to pick them from the neighborhood to bring them to the university, to boot camps, and to the high-tech company. Still, the community is very united, still. Yeah, still we have the background of the community is very important for us. The new generation is wonderful. They know their history, they know their narrative. We want to keep the religious. We want to pray like we pray in Ethiopia, to pray deeply for the God, for Jerusalem. Really, we are educated our children very politely, honestly. Every value, really the Jewish values that we grow must be continue here, must continue forever. Really, even it's a lot of challenge. Most of the Ethiopian love Israel, love very, very much. They are very patriot, and they go to the miluim, go to the army. They are helping the neighborhood. They are volunteering everywhere. Yeah. That's I think one of the values that we get from our family. Very polite one. We are not shouting. Don't know why. No way. No chutzpah. Yeah. Well, we have to stay very polite and do our job very silent.
Yeah, Takele, but that's a beautiful value on the one hand. On the other hand, I remember speaking with one Ethiopian student, a very dear young man who just finished his law degree. He managed to do all this hard work to finish his degree, but he said, you know, my culture, we have such a culture of honor and respect, and it's instinctive for me when I go into the courtroom that I don't look the judge in the eye, and I look down because I respect the judge. He says, but I'm in Israel. It's a problem for me because in Israel, the Israelis, they look them in the eye and they say what they think and they fight and they speak a lot. And he said, and sometimes I can come across like I don't know or that I'm not strong because I don't look the judge in the eye. And so you have these cultural things that you have to sort of navigate back and forth with. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's right. Also, we face it in the high-tech company here in Israel. Our graduate go to the interview, and they didn't look their eyes, and they said, "What happened? What happened?" He don't have any confidence. Even he didn't look me in my eyes. How can I take him with the high-tech company? No. We told them that it's the culture. Please. Yeah. We are meditating, okay? Please give them the exam. Is they're fitable in the profession? His value is fantastic. He's working, team working, individual working. He's coordinating everything. It's a silent leadership with the silent. Leadership with the silent, you know? To be in leadership in Ethiopia, have to be silent and just speak a little bit. What's necessary, stop it. That's
so if you're somewhere else, people might not understand that and think that you aren't suited for the job or whatever because they misunderstand your strength. And that's very important that you can mediate that then for people.
Yeah, here, especially in Israel, wow, you have to be shout, be aggressive. It's not our culture. Yeah, it's not our. There's some Ethiopians that they are in the army. They are born here. They are like looks like Ethiopians and Israelis. There's a mixed one. I like that. I like that.
You like it?
I like it. Yeah, they are Ethiopians. Even they are also Israelis. They know how to fight. And
they know how to speak up for themselves. And
yeah, they are assertive. They are assertive, and at the same time they are polite, and I like that.
This is very nice. Very nice.
Of course, yes.
So would you say, Takele, that once you're an immigrant, you're always an immigrant? Or like what you said just now, there comes a time where you really feel like, yes, I'm Israeli too. It's maybe different for different people depending on their age or if they were born here or not, but.
Once you're an immigrant, you are immigrant. If you are not immigrant to the very early age, but in my age, I arrived here in the age of 17 and a half.
Oh.
I have, sometimes I feel I'm Israeli, sometimes I feel I'm Ethiopian. It's a mixed identity. It's okay. I live with that. My identity is very, very strong, so I don't have any problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes also when I talk my life history, I start from Sudan, not from Ethiopia,
Really?
Yeah, from Sudan to Israel, Sometimes I forget I'm born in Ethiopia, and sometimes it's, so once you're a migrant, you're Ole Hadash, you stay Ole Hadash. If you migrate after 10, 20, 12 years old, I think that. If you come to 3 years on where babies, you are Israeli. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So we are so, like I said, we're so happy to be a part of helping with integration projects as well as Aliyah projects. So ICEJ, we've been contributing to children's programs to help the young ones as they come to bridge the gaps they have with learning, but also we have the immigrants that are arriving soon or who have just arrived, who just don't quite, they're coming around to the age that you came or even older, but they haven't quite finished 12 years of education. And so this is an area that we really, really want to help them finish. We have the program starting in January for this because we know it's going to make such a huge difference for them in their future. But what are the things that you would point to as are the most important ways to help the Ethiopian community so that we can learn and we can pray towards those things and we can be assisting?
In terms of priority, the first thing is to bring them to Israel. It's very important.
Yes.
That's the first priority.
Because it's like an evacuation now. It's a danger. They really need to come. So this is first.
This first. After they arrived here, the issue of education is very important every age, and the issue of after the army is vocational programs, university programs, especially technological programs, is very important. We are concentrating in the age of the babies from the kindergarten at the age of the university. That's the areas I have to invest more. But especially to bring them to Israel is really to bring them as soon as possible. I know ICEJ do a lot. We don't forget what you do. We didn't forget. And I know you do it very emotionally, and you believe that the Jews must be here in Israel to the promised land. And it's really the Aliyah of Ethiopian Jews is a miracle. It's a miracle that we accomplished the dream of 3,000 years. Yeah. To keep your religious in Ethiopia, in that remote area, difficult area for 2,700 years is not easy. It's very, very important. I think your organizations do a lot, and for me, it's my honor Nicole, and to speak with you and your colleagues. And God of Israel bless you more, and you and your family and all your organization. I know that. I come from the religious family. I know God is everywhere. God of Israel is everywhere. And everything that you give to, you save 1%, as you save the whole world.
Yeah. Wow. What a special blessing. Thank you, Takele.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know if other people have questions on the call, but if you do have a question, you can put it up in the question and answer, and we could maybe Takele could answer some of those questions. So I just want to mention that to any of our friends who might be on the call who are curious about something. This is a very fascinating community, a very special community. But Takele, until we maybe get a question or something, maybe you could tell us, I think you must be very proud of the community and what they have managed to do. I know we have had our first Israeli Ethiopian firefighter, airline pilot.
Yes, the Air Force.
Yes, the Air Force. And this is a very prestigious thing. We have some of the first Ethiopian judges in Jerusalem now.
Yes.
Very exciting. And I know that the community is getting really involved in local government. You're really beginning as a community to do a lot. And I think you must be very proud of that.
I am very proud. Even I told you, even more the challenge that we're facing, we're hard workers. We believe with God and we pray to Jerusalem, and we dream to be in Jerusalem, and we want to grow. Our children were integrated in Israel. So really are good fighters, good hard workers, and very united. And in this world, if you are good workers, community, and love the country, the door is open. Yeah, the door is open. The God opens the doors. Yeah, that's the way. We are integrated well. We are more than 10,000 Ethiopians that graduate university. More than 10,000. Yes, more than 10,000. It's a huge, yeah. In 30 years, community without education here, coming here, to limit the gap is very important. Yeah, I think we have the future is where concentrate the education, the university, the future of the children will be well and to integrate well, of course.
Yeah. I have a comment here from Donna Holbrook. She's our ICEJ director in Canada, and she's thanking you for this update on the Ethiopian community in Israel. And she just wants to say we believe in you, and we support your absorption efforts. And they just want to say that you are that they are sending their blessings from their entire team, and that you have friends in Canada.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So yeah, this is, I think, Takele, I love it that you're helping people with high tech. I know Israel has huge advances in high tech, even during Corona. And the challenge in the high tech in Israel is that there aren't enough qualified workers to fill all the jobs.
Yes.
And so we need every last person. And you're right, people who are working in high tech and getting educated, they're able to break out of the cycle of poverty. This is something that we are very interested in helping Israelis do, whether they're Ethiopian or Arab or Orthodox or people from different backgrounds.
Yes.
Because we know how important it is for Israel. Recently, the state comptroller put out a report saying that they know that they're going to have to re-educate huge numbers of Israeli society, maybe even as high as 69% of the society is going to need to upgrade their skills and education in order to meet the challenges of the coming years and the changes in the technology that are coming soon.
Yes,
Many of the jobs that people do today won't be available in the coming years. And what you're doing with advancing technical education in general is just hugely important, not just for breaking out of poverty, but especially for that, so people can actually be employed.
Yes, of course. The future to be in the middle class in Israel is to integrate the high-tech industry. That's a lot of demand, and goes and gone and continue, and it's very important for that the Ethiopians, the Arabs, Orthodox Jews must be in the high-tech company. They must be. They must integrate to the high-tech company. So that's why my mission to do, I told you that I have to bring 300 Ethiopian youngsters each year in the high-tech company. And my goal is to bring 2,000 for the next 8 years. And I demand to do that, and God of Israel helping me to do that. Of course. Amen.
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 That's great. I think it's, yeah. Are there any other questions that our friends have out there that we would like to ask Takele before we start to wind down here? Want to give another opportunity? We had another comment from a friend on the call just saying how pleased she was to know that the Ethiopian community is being brought here, and they're brought here to be proud citizens of the state of Israel. And that is such a joy to see. Yeah. See if we get some other questions. Yeah, that's right. Yes, very good.
And Nicole, after the corona, if they come to visit to Israel, they're welcome to Takele. My door is open for you and for the visitors, and they can meet the youngsters here that were educated to the tech industry. They can meet the students and everything. And you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nicole, you are a family, so you're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yes, indeed. It's always so inspiring. It's always just so inspiring to see and to, I've got a couple more questions here. Let's see what we've got. How many Jewish people are there presently in Ethiopia?
It's around 10,000.
Around 10,000 are still waiting to make Aliyah?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and they're coming slowly, right? There's because of the challenges that you've laid out, the government doesn't bring them all in one go. They need to determine that they have the right family connections, and they don't come if they don't have family here. And because it costs literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to integrate, they do need to do it slowly. But that's why all that you're saying is all that much more important. So yeah, and you have blessings from Argentina, Takele.
Thank you very much.
And a prayer from there.
Yeah, and I pray for him.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So yeah, just I think we've been able to underline the real importance of assistance. I know, for instance, when the Russian Aliyah came, they came already with professions, and they're now 20% of Israeli society. And so when you're 20% of Israeli society, you have a lot of people who speak your language, and you have a lot of people who understand your cultural background. And so those people can help you, sort of like one talks to the other and tells you, oh, I know about this opportunity. But when you're 2% of the population,
no networking.
The networking is much more difficult. And so those things all make a difference. And that's why not just the Ethiopian community can be a help, but also the non-Ethiopian community can be a help in many, many ways. So, okay, well, hey, we have someone from Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for a most interesting interview from Zimbabwe.
Wow.
They say that they understand where you're coming from, and they pray that the complete Aliyah may be achieved in these difficult times. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So Okay, well, I think we've answered the questions. We've been able to bless you. We continue to bless you. And we hope and with you that many, many Ethiopians will come in the coming year. Like I said, initially 3,000, but maybe as many as 5,000. Right now, the Minister of Aliyah and Integration is Penina Tamanishete.
Yes, yes.
And she's Ethiopian, born in Ethiopia, made the same trip that you did through Sudan, as I understand, at age 5.
Yes, she's great. Really.
She's fantastic. And I was really hoping when the new government was formed that she would be the Minister of Aliyah and Integration again. And we were very privileged to have her. And I think she's been the driving force behind getting this passed through the government at this time. So we wish her well as well, and strength to her in bringing everyone, and to you, Takele, in meeting those very, very great goals that you have. 300 students a year, may it be. Okay, thank you for being with us. Thank you to all of our friends who joined us on the call today. And we look forward to hearing in the news and seeing through the ICEJ updates that those immigrants are arriving. We're hoping that that'll begin towards the end of January. So we'll see.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes.
God of Israel bless you, and happy Christmas. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Takele. God bless you. God bless you all. And blessed holidays to you all. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
2021 was an amazing year for the International Christian Embassy right here in Jerusalem. Thanks to the help from you and many other Christians from around the world, we could impact the nation of Israel, the very city of Jerusalem, in an even greater way than last year. Please have a look to what the Lord did through us in 2021.
2021 has been a great year in ICEJ aid. At the Haifa home, we've been able to upgrade the shared living space and physiotherapy room. We've also installed an elevator in the new building, and we're just about to begin taking in new residents. Also, we've expanded our outreach to survivors outside the home through a call center. Already, that call center receives 2,800 calls a month. Another milestone in 2021 was when we delivered our 150th shelter to protect vulnerable communities. 42 of those were ordered just this year, and that number continues to climb. We're also really excited that we were able to help strengthen many more families through food packages, home repairs, vocational training, or scholarships that help them towards a brighter future.
I want to thank you for helping us make 2021 an amazing year. This year, ICEJ helped more than 3,000 immigrants return to their biblical homeland. We've reached the total of over 163,000 during the history of ICEJ. And while many people are shutting down because of COVID, we've had 2 amazing years of a virtual Feast of Tabernacles. This last Feast of Tabernacles, we had almost 5,000 participants from over 100 nations. While the world's shutting down because of COVID, God has given ICEJ the grace to flourish and do more and be more. So let's celebrate together an amazing 2021.
In our international work over the last year, we experienced a paradox, because normally we would travel a lot, but we couldn't do that because of the lockdowns and the travel restrictions. And yet we have seen a great improvement of communication, both in quality and quantity. In these online meetings, we were able to have good communication with many offices which we have around the world, and some new people joined us. So we were able to start new offices in several countries of Latin America, Eastern Europe, and Africa. Many other people joined us for our numerous prayer initiatives, starting with the weekly global prayer gatherings and also these amazing prayer chains at the beginning of each Hebrew month, the Rosh Chodesh. The Lord has used this crisis to raise awareness about His plan for Israel and for the nations. And we are so grateful that we can be part of that.
Another important moment for our ministry came in May when Israel faced its fourth rocket war with Hamas in Gaza in the past 12 years. There were hundreds of rockets flying every day into Israel, where the security threat is growing. So it's more than 150 bomb shelters that we're now helping Israel protect itself. We're also giving firefighting equipment and fire protection suits to the first responders to help them protect their communities. So the Christian Embassy is doing all these things to help Israel keep safe.
We had a great impact this year in Israel, and together we can do so much more in the future. We are so grateful for your support, for your generous donations to the ICEJ that has made it possible for us to increase our work at the ICEJ, our Aliyah work, our Holocaust survivor work, bomb shelters, and educating the church, connecting you to Israel, informing you what is happening right here in Israel, but also from a biblical perspective. So thank you once again for your great support. We are very thankful for that, and may God do great things for you also.
So you have seen what we have been doing in 2021 here in Israel and also right here in the city of Jerusalem. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support, for standing with us in prayer, in your finances, and also in your support in your country. And I want to wish you the blessing of the Lord as you are standing with Israel and as you are blessing God's chosen people. I do ask you to prayerfully consider also to stand in 2022 on the side of the International Christian Embassy, your embassy right here in the land of Israel.